You had brought me over for the first time to meet your parents. And first of all, you set me up for failure. That's what happened. Because I think I came in with a t-shirt and jeans. And
I did tell you to dress up.
No, you didn't.
Okay,
well, anyways. So, so basically, you know, I come in t-shirt and jeans, not dressed up, meeting your parents for the very first time. And, you know, basically we sat down at the dinner table, and your mom had this amazing spread of food, and I was hungry. I think I was also hungry because, you know, your parents, they looked very mean, and I thought, well, to comfort myself, I need to start eating. And so basically, then I got yelled at, because you're basically, in the Korean culture, is that it's respectful for us to wait until the elder, like your father or your mother, say Meogjia, you know, let's eat. And so that's what I thought about when I was creating my LLC, was what is something that encompasses kind of the reverence for food, the reverence for community, the reverence for togetherness, kind of that intimacy. And so I thought, well, Meogjia is the best name for it. I am having a takeover, so a pop-up at my friend's establishment called Ricewood Barbecue in Ann Arbor.
When I think about Meogjia, it's literally a phrase we say at every single meal. And also when we don't know how to communicate love to each other, we eat. You know, we sit around and we eat. And so very well known phrase in the Korean culture. And to tap it off with like reverence for gathering together, like, I think that's beautiful.
All right, you guys ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Wanting to cook Korean food was really due to your mom, actually. Your mom would cook so many amazing dishes. And I think part of the reason why I really wanted to kind of showcase Asian food was because also during that time, you know, with what happened with the Asian hate crimes and things like that, I wanted to be able to kind of dig a little more deeper into my roots. You know, even though I grew up in Taiwan for 3 years, I didn't know much of Taiwan. Those recipes are always things that are an ongoing experimentation for me. Things that I recollect from my grandma's house, Ama, you know, things that she would cook, things that I want to replicate because now she has no memory of it. But I was able to really capture kind of your mom's essence of what her, you know, what Korean cooking is.
It's really interesting because I'm thinking about how those two worlds seem so different. Like you're cooking comfort food, you know, Asian food. And I'm kind of, and even in your food though, like, because I love your food. And it's interesting because some dishes are so traditional that I feel like, wow, like my mom cooks this, you know? Like your daegu myeongtan, the spicy fish soup, Korean soup. But then some other dishes are so not Korean, you know, like your, what is a pasta dish? Or the lasagna dish?
It's like a Korean bolognese.
Yeah. That's like not traditional. I'm always curious about those who cook and cook for a living and can kind of like meld different worlds together. Like what do you think is authentic? Because I feel like that's kind of like a question that everyone's kind of been bombarded with, right? Like, is this authentic Korean food, authentic Asian food, authentic Italian, or whatever it is? So what would be your definition of like, this is authentic?
I would say it's, you know, for me, it's authentic to me. It's inspired by Korean food. And that's the thing with Korean food in general, is that there are so many different takes on it. You know, just like Taiwanese food, you have the grandmas who have their own recipes and they do it their own way. And so that's kind of the thing that I want to showcase through my food, is that I'm actually cooking things that I want to eat. So things that I find comforting. I want to cook comforting food. I want to cook food that sparks conversation.
You know, I think for me, when I think about fusion or authentic, or people who may blend the cultures together, I so appreciate it when they know where that food came from. And then they've decided to make it their own based on what they're inspired by, what what they want to eat. But if a person has no idea of origin of kimchi, let's say, where it came from, why people eat kimchi, and then suddenly wants to, I don't know, fusionize it, it's very hard for me to respect that.
Yeah, and every time I meet someone that knows that I cook Korean food, they always say, oh, I love Korean food. I love K-barbecue. I love bibimbap. I love, just something that's pretty common. And it's not something that they would feel comfortable going outside of Korean barbecue or going outside of the bibimbap realm. There's so much to Korean food that is out there. And so the reason why I decided to do something, whether we call it fusion or third culture food, whatever the case, the idea behind that is to want to make sure that there's two reasons. One is to highlight Korean food as not something that you see that's, cheap. I want to be able to bring it into the same scale as Italian food or French food. Now, the second reason why I do that is because, it's so hard to get someone who's not Korean or who's not Asian or who doesn't enjoy Korean food to say, hey, enjoy this stew or drink this soup or eat this thing that looks kind of weird, but it's actually really good. Now, the idea through that is that's why I created the Korean Bolognese lasagna.
And I definitely respect and can appreciate that because you're trying to take whether it's unapproachable ingredient or a humble ingredient or a very familiar ingredient and having people experience it in a whole new way to possibly then have them be more curious about the culture and elevating it.
You can find more at onedetroitpbs.org or subscribe to our social media channels and sign up for our One Detroit newsletter.